Alrighty folks, so our next project that we're going to be working on here is we need to get the electric part of our electric fence heading up the hill and over to that side of the farm. So we've got the Springfield High Tunnel Mill House over there, and we need it to be going the opposite direction from that. Heading up over towards the side field, over that direction. And the way we're going to be doing that is right down here. We've got a gate. We're going to bring the wires underneath there, and then that'll connect into this stretch coming up beside the lane. And then from here we can tie into this, and then that'll start heading across the farm. Now my dad's already been doing some work on getting the wires that are going underneath the gates, so those are in place. He's gotten those kind of connected into some switches. The problem is that we're getting some shorts, and so that's what I'm going to be working on today. One of the issues is with our lower line right here, and as you can see, this insulator that kind of goes around the post, it isn't evenly put around there, so it's really long on this side, and then it's really short on this side, and it's actually grounding out on the diagonal brace wire that goes up through there. So that one we need to get loosened up and see if we can't get that insulator kind of shuffled around there a little bit so that that's not grounding out there. And then our second from the bottom wire is actually again grounding out on that diagonal brace wire there. So that one we're gonna have to get a little piece of insulator to go on there. We've got it's a twist-on insulator, so it's sort of a spiral shaped along the length of it. So you can just take a little piece of that, twist that around the wire, and then slide it up right where that brace wire is, and then that should take care of that one there. All right, so we're up here where our ratchets are for the stretch that goes down to where I just was. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loosen this bottom one up. Hopefully I should be able to get enough slack because there's a good bit twisted on here. Get it loosened up enough so we can go back down to the bottom and hopefully get that end insulator kind of shuffled around there. All right, that should hopefully do it. Now we can run back up to the top and tighten it up again. Then come back down here and check it and make sure it's not touching on that one. Alright, so we're going to be stringing some wire next, and this is the spinning jenny, and this is what you put your roll of wire on, and these things kind of hold the wire in place there, and then it'll spin on top of there. The problem is that this thing, it could have been maybe built a little bit stronger. And I think maybe, as you can see, this ring up here that spins has kind of bent down towards the ground. I think it's been dropped a few times, and you know, when you got like a, I don't know, 100-pound roll of wire or something on there, that's a lot of weight pushing down on there for these to be, you know, out as far as they are. So what we're gonna try doing is I'm gonna take this off, flip it upside down so that way the bow is coming up, and then see if we can use it that way instead. It is going to put this little wire retainer on the bottom. I think that should be okay. This is for the inner end of your roll to kind of stick in there so it's not springing out all over the place. So that will go on the bottom because that's not a bolt, so I can't switch that, but I think it'll work. Ooh, maybe not. That's got a collar on it. Uh-oh. Ah, man. I didn't think it would actually lift the bucket. It's under under 1/2 inch, so it's halfway back to where it was. Put just a little bit of grease on there. I don't think it'll hurt anything. This thing turns real nice. I like it. Yep. Yep. Yeah. All right, well, you know, things are going relatively well when I've got to run back down here to the mill house to get more materials. So I got a couple boxes over here. One of these has the short insulators, the other has the long insulators that go around the corners. And in addition to that, we're almost out of that wire that I just got a new spool on before we started with this. So we've almost gone through one, what is that, a 4,000? Something like that foot spool of wire. So got to grab another one of these things as well. The grass is not helping at all. So I'll put up on the screen here somewhere where we're at and like how many feet that is, because I have no idea. Yeah, it's going reasonably well so far, which means that this next section's really going to cause us problems, and it wouldn't surprise me either, because we're heading down around the turkey field, and that's got several little twists and turns going around there, and it's a really long stretch. So if we're gonna have issues, it's gonna be in this next section. All right, so today's project with the fence is to work on this little section right in here. So I think you can probably tell that this the dirt kind of comes up a little bit right here, and this is a pretty short stretch in between there. So I really don't want to put like another post in the middle of the composite or something like that. So what I'm going to try doing is, got the skid steer over there with the bucket. We're going to try kind of grading this out a little bit, get that a little bit more smooth, and then hopefully we won't need to put in any sort of post in between this to get this to not be grounding out on the ground. Alright, so we're back down here at the bottom where we were working on these shorts the other day. Of course, we got this bottom one fixed up by getting that insulator moved around, but right here, this, I guess, second wire from the bottom is still touching on our brace wire. So what we've got is these after the fact insulators, and I think you can, there we go, you can kind of see it's got a spiral shape to it. Of course, most of your insulators are just a tube, so you have to put them on first, but in the event that you forget or you miss something, you can grab a spool of this stuff. So this is like a 3-foot section of it, and I just cut off a little 4-inch little piece there. You can just grab that and then just twist it, nice and simple, easy to do. There we go. Right on there, and then put that in there, and it insulates that wire from our brace wire. Guess who screwed up already? This need to be on the other side. I feel like the last time that I did one of these composite posts for the camera, I screwed that one up too. I don't remember what it was I did that time, but I'm fairly certain this isn't my first time redoing these on screen. I'm also fairly certain that the only times I've screwed it up have been on camera. Okay, now you can pop it off. Yeah, oh, right there too. You got it twisted. Now we got it twisted down here. All right. I think that's it. Alright, so we got all of the stickweed and everything cleaned up here at the end of the turkey field. And a couple reasons. Obviously, it's good just to get that mowed down, cleared out of here. It's little spots like this. This is where, you know, you'll start getting autumn olive popping up if you don't get it mowed down from time to time. It would be better if it got grazed down, but I don't want to wait that long because I'm going to be moving the poultry into this field, and originally I was planning on putting them up in the side field, but I think it's going to work out better to put them down here for the time being. The problem is that of course the dogs are going to get moved with them to keep any critters that would like to have a nice chicken dinner from getting that chicken dinner. And the fence down here up into about that point right there, it's not too bad. It's woven wire that would keep the dogs in fine. Once we get past there, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but it starts breaking down quite a lot. It's been filled in with some barbed wire. It's not too terribly bad for a little bit on this side of the gate, but then we get down here closer to the corner, and this right here, all we got is some barbed wire right here on the property line, and I can guarantee you that that definitely is not going to keep Roxy in. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put some T-posts, some stepping stakes on this side of all of these trees that run along the property line here, and run those up probably to just to the other side of the gate where the woven wire starts getting in real good shape. And then I'm just going to run some of that low, I guess it'd be low tensile electric, the kind of small gauge stuff, run that up through there so there's some electric lines going along through there. That'll keep the dogs in, and hopefully if the neighbors have any cattle in there, it'll keep the cattle out, because I did have some issues with the neighbors. One particular cow, it was the same one that kept on wanting to come over here this spring. It was going through the barbed wire and it was eating my grass here at the end of the hayfield. So hopefully that'll keep stuff on the correct sides of the fence if I run a little bit of something through here. And then eventually, of course, this line will really just need to be redone properly. Some good, probably high tensile electric through there, but for now, this'll do the job. All right, so the last fence related thing that we got to do down here in the turkey field is right here down by the creek. I don't know how well you can see it, but kind of right through here it really dips down. But because of this dip, there's probably a solid foot or better underneath this bottom wire. So what I'm going to try doing is filling this in a little bit with rock. That'll raise it up a little bit. Hopefully close the gap enough so that Roxy doesn't try slipping underneath there. And then I'll probably come back at some point and put some topsoil over top and try to get this nice and smooth and have soil all the way across through there. Maybe throw a little bit of seed and grass seed in there to get that growing back. Keep it nice and level all the way along the fence line. So what we've got here is a whole selection of different size rocks. Hopefully that should be enough to pretty well fill that in. And then I might have raised the bucket a little bit too high while going up the hill over there. So I kind of need to get that one off of there first. Hey, didn't even hit the skid steer on the way down. I think that'll do it. Throw a few scoops of dirt on top of there and it ought to be just fine.